Hi fellow yogis, welcome to Fable's 30-day challenge. Today is day number 1 with me, Natalie Simmonds. I'll be taking you through a vinyasa flow today. It's an all-level flow, quite simple to begin with, as we start to work through our postures and work with our breath. And so when you're ready, if you do need some blocks, feel free to grab them, pop them by your mat. But join me in a cross-legged seated position to Asana as soon as you're ready to come down onto your mat. And we're going to cross our shins over slightly further and bring our feet forward. So as you can see, my knees are kind of shining towards you, making a bit of a box. So you've probably been spending a lot of time seated over the holidays. So we're going to just have a quick stretch out of that before we get moving. So begin to walk your fingertips forward, folding over the legs, draping the upper body, but softening the shoulders, so drawing them down away from you. Take this as far as you need to go. Start to acknowledge your breath. So big inhale into the back body, so expanding the ribs, inflating through the belly, and then exhale, just gently drawing navel back towards the spine. One more like that for me. Big inhale. And a big exhale all the way out. Allowing your head just to be the weight, allowing your chest to relax a little bit further. And gently bring yourself up, lean back into your palms and just reach your feet forward towards me, finding a lift in the chest. That should feel really nice through the front of the body, especially through the head, neck and shoulders, and then crossing your opposite leg in front, coming back. Again, same position with those feet, so just make sure we're generously crossing those shins over, and then start to take a fold. Reaching the fingertips away, just going as far as feels good for you. So we're going to really work on not over-efforting or straining too much, but really embracing the body that we brought to the mat. Taking one more breath here. And as we exhale, we start to roll up through the spine, and we're going to keep our seated position next today. So let your palms flip over towards the ceiling. Have some space coming in through the collarbones as the shoulders to slide away from the ears. So setting an intention for the new year is a really great way to reflect on what's been working for you, what hasn't, what needs a bit more fine-tuning or perhaps some reformation. So instead of doing New Year resolutions or setting New Year resolutions, which by its very meaning is quite unflexible and uncompromising for us, we're going to start to set intentions, daily intentions. These are things we can work towards. These are things that are not attached to a success or failure as an outcome, but just simply being able to make our practice more personal for ourselves as we come onto the mat. So as we start to come into our breath, we are inhaling, expanding through the belly, trying to find this downward energy. And then as we exhale, perhaps offering a bit of an upper body release. So taking 5 more full breaths here. As we do, allow your intention to begin to resonate with you, something you can embody. It might be just coming into the trilogy of our mind, body, and breath today and remaining present on our mat. It might be something else, a little bit more deeper rooted for you. Perhaps to remain consistent with your practice over the next few weeks. So whatever that might be for you, just start to drop into that for a second. Enjoy the pause and taking your last full breath here. As you exhale, blinking the eyes open when you're ready. Meet me in your all fours. So hands are going to be splayed directly underneath our shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Make sure your elbow creases are shining forward and your elbows are back here. And start to come into a round of cat and cows. So as we exhale, finding our cat, dropping chin towards the chest, lifting through the belly button towards the spine. And as we inhale, softening the belly, shining the collarbones forward, lifting our gaze. And again, exhale, press down through the floor. So we're really getting used to using the finger pads here. So we're not putting too much pressure down into the wrists. If you need to at all, though, you can give me fists here into the floor, and at any point that you are feeling too much in the wrists throughout your practice. Let's take one more inhale, one more exhale here. And as we come to that midway point, we're going to tuck our toes under and start to lift the hips up and back to find our downward facing dog. Now, as we get here, you might find you want to keep your knees bent, especially if your hamstrings are feeling a little tight here. Otherwise, you can start to send the heels away from you, just stretching out through the backs of the legs. Now, rotate the upper arms around towards you as you press into the floor. Peek the hips up and back as you firm through the thighs. And then with your chin, I want you to lift it as if you're about to gaze forward and jump to the top of your mat. And then draw your chin back towards your chest, really curling it up and in. And then let it come to that space between the two. Perhaps give it a little bit of movement here. Feel free to fidget through the hips as well as you just start to find a place that feels sustainable and comfortable for you to breathe in. Tapping into our Ujjayi breath here if you're familiar with that. Otherwise, just a simple inhale. Exhale via the nose, lifting the heels up on our inhale. And exhaling to press away. Taking one more breath here. And as we exhale, start to bring your palms back into the direction of your feet. And we're meeting in a forward fold. So as we get there, bend the knees generously. Let your upper body just fold over. And if you need to, catch the elbows. That's quite nice to just then rock side to side in our ragdoll. If you're quite mobile, you might find that your palms will come down to the mat, fingertips in line with the toes. And that just allows you to get that upper body slightly further over as you peek the hips up and back. One more breath. So sit bones are directly over our heels here. And then as we release, begin to bend the knees and take a slow roll up through the spine, moving through the vertebrae, stretching out through the cervical spine, coming all the way up to standing. Now, as we come to standing, we're going to find Tadasana mounting pose. So reaching down with the fingertips, lifting the chest high here. Take the arms overhead and catch one wrist. Taking a lovely side bend, we take it over. So just breathing into this, be aware of keeping it to the side. On one side of my body, it quite likes to back bend a bit. So draw the ribs in, think of going up and over, feeling that side stretch. And then coming back to center, switching over, reaching away. And again, sending the hips to the opposite direction, to the fingertips. And then as we come back to center, bring your palms to heart center. Big toes to touch at the top of your mat with me. Inhale, we rise, we lift our gaze. Root down through the feet. Exhale into your forward fold, Uttanasana, dropping the head, bending the knees as much as you need. Now inhale as we find our flat back. Send your thighs away from you, reaching the crown of the head forward, feeling some energy there. Exhale, roll back up. We're going to repeat that one more time, guys. So inhale, sweeping the palms towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, dropping the head, dropping the gaze. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And gently rounding up through the spine. This time we'll carry on. So inhale the arms. Exhale through heart center. Finding that forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway flat back. Bend your knees if you need to here. Exhale, plant the palms and slide the right leg to the back of your mat. Lowering down onto that back knee for me. Great. From here, keep your fingertips just down into the mat and think a little bit more of an upward facing dog with the spine. So lift your gaze, open through your collarbones as you shine the heart forward here. And take a deep breath. As we exhale, plant down your right palm and spin this top arm up and back, perhaps coming in the direction of the toes. Start by pressing the toes away from you to open up into the shoulders a little bit. That should feel really nice. And then if you want to get a little bit more into the quadricep, we just pull the toes a little bit closer towards us, still hugging the hips forward and down towards the mat here. Taking another breath. As we exhale, releasing the back toes. Plant the palms to the top of your mat, stretch the back leg and step back to your plank position. Now inhale the weight forward, root the heels away, firm the thighs and just lift up through your navel, protracting through your shoulders. As we exhale, lower your knees, chin and chest so the hips stay up. And then we slide it through. Coming into baby cobra, so hug the elbows in, press through the tops of your feet. Inhale, find your lift as you gaze forward. And exhale, we're going to lower it all the way back down. Tuck the toes. Inhale, push up to your plank. Exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Inhale from here, your right foot forwards, your left foot's back. Lower the knee, coming into the second side. So here, really have this sense of drawing the hips down towards the mat. We want to feel the back thigh and the hip flexors here. Still not forgetting about the upper body, finding the sense of shoulders away from the ears, space in our chest. See if we can plant the left palm down now. Reaching your right arm up and back, perhaps grabbing the toes, maybe not, up to you. We're not quite there yet. You could stay in this position, working on that twist. Again, press the foot away to get a little bit more out of the shoulders here. And then pulling the heel in, maybe playing around with the two forces there. And then as we release, plant the palm down, tuck the toes. And this time we're going to step your back foot in, top of the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms forward. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, rise, lift up, gaze up. All the energy rises here. Exhale out to the sides. Forward fold, dropping the head. Inhale, lift halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Plant the palms, step to the back of your mat. Take an inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, through your flow. Now that you can drop the knees to the chest like we just did, you could come all the way down into your Chaturanga, Cobra, or upward facing dog. We've got a few variations here. Find what's working for you. Exhale, we all meet back in our downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg to that spot between your palms. As we get there, pivot on the outer foot. So the left heel pivots down and back. As we rise, we draw back through the hips and come straight into Trikonasana. Our top arm goes high, bottom palm onto the shin or a block if you're working with blocks here. We want to make sure we're stacking the top hand and shoulder directly on top of the bottom. And then from there, we inhale and we exhale to spin the chest high with a sense of leaning back, drawing the ribs in. So trying not to back bend here. Taking another breath, inhale, almost feel like you're squeezing your heels towards one another, pressing the back foot away. Exhale. Inhale, we rise up to find warrior two, bending into the front knee, still pressing away in that back foot. Shrug the shoulders down the back, flip the front palm, and inhale to reverse, taking it up and over, space on the side of the body. And exhale, we windmill the palms down back towards our mat. Stepping your right foot back to meet your left. Option to take it through your flow, your variation of your choice. Inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Take one full breath here. Shake out the head. Feel free to take a child's pose at any point if you need. And then inhale, bringing your left foot forward. As we get there, spin on the back heel. Finding Trikonasana as we lift. Reaching the top arm high, bottom palm down onto the shin. So when we're in this position, we want to make sure we're not collapsing through one side. We want to keep both sides of the torso as long as possible. Inhale, find that lift. Exhale, find a little bit more of a twist, perhaps. Remember closing the gap between the ribs and the hips. Pulling the hips over and back towards your right-hand side as much as possible. Take one more breath. Great, as we exhale, we inhale to rise to find our warrior two, second side, bending into the front knee, reaching the back heel away, gaze down your front fingertips. Make sure the pelvis is neutral here. Flip the front palm, reverse. Taking it up and over, feel free to take a little bind here if you want to, but if not, just let it slide down the thigh. And as we exhale, windmill the palms down to your mat. Step it back, option to take it through another flow, or you could hold your plank and meet us back in downward facing dog. Great, guys, shake the head out. Take a moment to reset if you need to. Remember, child's pose is always on offer. So at any point, if you feel like you need that, you come down to the mat, which is here, knees apart. Draw the hips back. Let the head rest down onto the mat for a moment. Remember here to really be pressing evenly through all four corners, so hands and feet. One more breath. As we inhale, taking your right leg in the direction of the sky, squaring the hips. So we are splitting the legs, but don't lift the leg and then compromise your posture. Keep your shoulders square, your hips square, sending the back leg away. And as we exhale, step it forward to the top of your mat, between the palms. Now as we inhale, we lift, we step the back foot in, coming into a pyramid pose. So we lift halfway to lengthen. And then we exhale to start to fold over the legs. Again, blocks can be really handy here. So if you have them and you want to work with them, allow them to bring the floor closer towards you. So it'll just lift you slightly. And that's sometimes better for our stances. So remember, we're here to meet ourselves where we need to be met, to work with the body we've brought to the mat today. Take another inhale. Taking another exhale. Now while we're here, let's see if we can extend and press our left palm down towards the mat, reaching our right palm up towards the ceiling for this twist. Now you may find that you need a block here, so I'll show you with a block what that would look like. But you can have this block as high as you need to have it, as low as you want to have it, and it just helps us perhaps experience a bit more of a twist here on offer. Keep pressing down for your back heel, even if it's lifting off the mat. Keep reaching it away. Taking one more breath here. And then as we exhale, bring the palm down, bend into the front knee, and find your lunge position, shifting your block slightly out to the side. Pressing down into the mat, a low lunge. Step back, find your plank, lift your hips high, keep your downward facing dog. Take an inhale and an exhale. One more full breath here. Just regrouping for a second. And then inhale the left leg again towards the ceiling, squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders as best you can, allowing the back of the neck to feel long. And then exhale, knee to nose, tiger claw, and step it between your palms. As we get there, we step the back leg in. Pyramid second side. So still keeping a distance between the feet, but not too far away that we are rocking through the pelvis. So remember, the more neutral and stable the pelvis, the more happier our spine is going to be. So draw your right hip forward here, left hip back, squaring the hips. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold, and perhaps reach the fingertips slightly further away. Taking one more breath here before we add in our twist. Remember to use your blocks if you need to today. And then as we plant that right palm down, bring in the palm in front of the toes. Reach the opposite palm high. And again, keep pressing through that back heel, even if it feels like it's coming off slightly. Really feeling that stretch right through the side of the leg there. Inhale. Exhale. Feeling space and length. One more breath. And as we exhale, bringing the palm down, bending the front knee, stepping back to find that low lunge for a moment, lifting the chest. And then step back to your plank, lift your hips. Great, take a second here, inhale. Exhale. We're going to inhale, ripple forward to our plank pose next, all joining here. And then slowly we lower down to the mat. So let your knees drop if you need to. Otherwise, take yourself down as slow as you can, hugging your elbows in to arrive down to the front side of your body, where we're going to shuffle our elbows forward and join in Sphinx Pose today. So elbows under the shoulders, legs can be slightly apart or hip distance apart. And while we're here, we just almost want to prep for our Dolphin Pose coming up. So for the shoulders, so press down through the forearms. For your shoulders, gravitate away from the ears as you gaze forward here. Slight lifting the waist. If you're feeling anything around the lower back. Taking a moment here. And then when you're ready, tucking the toes under, still pressing down through the forearms, we start to lift our navel towards our spine to come into a forearm plank. Slide the ribs to the hips. Press up and out of those shoulders. So inhaling here. Exhaling away, pressing those heels back. Now see if we can start to tiptoe our toes in, keeping the palms exactly where they are, elbows where they are. Just coming in as far as we can. And as we get there, our aim is to press the forearms down into the mat. So we are lifting the shoulders away from the ears here. Perhaps you're going to decide to lift one leg in the air on your inhale. And exhale, keep the weight even between your forearms. Taking one more breath. And on your exhale, perhaps lowering down and switching legs. Again, keeping this press through the forearms. Inhale, squeeze, lift. Exhale, press. One more breath, inhale. And as we exhale, lower down and just come onto the knees for a minute. Take the knees wide. Let your arms go long, or perhaps let them come down toward your heels as we take a moment in our child's pose here. So let yourself completely feel relaxed. Whew, deep breaths. Well done, guys. So from here, I want to invite you guys to come upside down for a moment with me. So I'm a girl who likes to go upside down quite daily. So join me either by a wall if you have one at home, just to have a little practice with maybe some handstands, some little inversions that we might be working on. If we are into headstands, you're going to join me. So if that's in your practice, again, come to join me. I'm going to face you as I do it. So what we're doing is bringing our hands interlaced together, elbows down into the mat, making a bit of a triangle position. And in the center is where our head goes as we hook the back of the skull. Once we're there, we start to lift the hips, making our way up. Now remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath here. So we're inhaling, we're exhaling. And if we're doing our handstands at the wall, we're going to take a little break and then come into another round. And just reset. If you're with me here, you might decide to take Supta Badakanasana, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. You might not. You might choose to stay exactly where you were. You might even choose to take your legs out to the side, depending on how that feels for you. Again, you don't have to take that option. These are just offerings. And we're going to take another 2 more breaths together, guys. Inhale, exhale away. Last breath here. And then if you're in your handstand, make your way down. Headstanders, we're going to start to slowly dismount. Finding some grace and control as we do. And when you get there, guys, stay down. Take it into your child's pose. Don't come up. Take a moment to settle after being upside down. It's going to really shift the energy. So if you've been feeling a little bit stagnant today, a little bit fatigued, that's going to be better than a cup of coffee for you. So take a moment here. Breathing in. Exhaling away. And then walk your fingertips in towards you, rolling up slowly. And we're going to meet in our Yogi Squat next, Malasana. So just tuck your toes under. Bring yourself to the end of the mat. If you need to roll up the end of the mat for your heels, take that option here, especially if they're not quite meeting the mat. That's okay. And then press the elbows into the thighs here so we can lengthen through the spine. So this is a great counter pose to our inversions, to being upside down. Think about the energy coming out of the crown of the head, tailbone grounding you down towards your mat. Feeling stable, feeling a sense of security here. Taking another breath in. And then fully exhaling away, seeing if we could then, from here, start to make our way down onto our mats. Bringing your feet forward, so bring your hips with you. Extend the feet, bring your arms around, and start to roll through the spine. Coming all the way down onto your mat. If you feel like you need to take any twists side to side, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, you're going to just knock the knees from right to left for a second. And then let the legs go long as we come into our final pose, our Shavasana. That's been well earned today. So let those palms maybe come out to the side, somewhere comfortable or on the body. And if you're tempted to rush off and not stay for your Shavasana, just remind yourself it's the one thing that we often crave more of in our daily lives, is that chance to pause. It's also giving time for your nervous system and your body to respond to what we've been doing. Allowing your body to do what it does best, which is to heal and nourish. So really honor this time here if you do have time. Finding your breath. Allowing the entire body to slowly switch off from the crown of the head down to the tips of your toes. Nothing to do, nothing to manage for a moment longer. And then for those of you who need to head off, you're going to bring your knees in. Rock them to one side using your free arm to bring you all the way up to a comfortable seated position. Rolling the shoulders if you need, bring your hands to your heart center. Having a sense of energy now running through the spine, down into the crown of the head, lifting your thumb knuckles, that space between your brows. Incredibly grateful for you all and being on this journey with us. Namaste.